You know the theme song. You know the bright colors and the happy family of pigs. Peppa Pig is a global phenomenon that brings joy to millions of children. But underneath the cheerful animation and the innocent laughter lies a story so dark and disturbing that it will completely change the way you look at the show forever. What if I told you that the cartoon was not created to entertain children at all? It was created by a broken man to hide a gruesome and bloody reality. This is the true terrifying origin of Peppa Pig. The story begins decades ago on an isolated, struggling farm deep in the English countryside. There was a real little girl named Peppa. She was an only child living a very lonely life. Her parents were constantly working to keep the failing farm alive, leaving Peppa to entertain herself. Her absolute favorite place to be was outside in the dirt. She wore a pair of bright red rain boots everywhere she went. She loved all the animals, but she had a special connection with the massive pigs. She would spend hours leaning over the wooden fence talking to them and watching them wallow in the thick wet mud. One cold rainy afternoon, Peppa went out to play while her father was busy working inside the house. The ground was incredibly slick from days of heavy rain. She climbed over the wooden fence to get closer to the pigs so she could jump into muddy puddles just like she always did. But this time her bright red boots slipped on the wet wood. She fell hard. She hit her head on the heavy stone feeding trough and collapsed into the deep mud, completely unconscious. Now you have to understand something truly terrifying about pigs. They are highly intelligent, but they are also opportunistic omnivores. If they are hungry, they will eat absolutely anything, and these farm pigs were starving. The smell of fresh blood mixing with the mud triggered their most primal wild instincts. While the little girl lay helpless and unconscious, the massive animals surrounded her. By the time her father finally came outside to call her in for dinner, there was no little girl left. The pigs had consumed almost everything. The only thing remaining in the horrific bloody mud was a pair of bright red rain boots. No human mind can process a sight like that. When the father dropped to his knees in the filthy pig pen, his sanity completely shattered into a million pieces. He could not accept that his beautiful daughter was gone in such a brutal and violent way. As he sat there screaming in the mud, a small young piglet walked up to him and nudged his hand. In his absolute raging madness, the father looked into the dark eyes of the animal, and his broken brain created a new reality. He believed with all his heart that his daughter had not died. He convinced himself that Peppa had transformed. He believed her soul was now living inside the body of that little pig. The grief-stricken man picked up the piglet and carried it inside the farmhouse. He locked all the doors. He began to treat the farm animal exactly like his human child. He dressed the pig in red clothes to match her favorite boots. He set a place for it at the dinner table. He spoke to it constantly, and he even began to draw colorful pictures of his new family to make the delusion feel real. He drew them as a happy family of walking and talking pigs, living in a bright sunny world where nothing bad ever happens. In his drawings, jumping in muddy puddles was just a fun game instead of a deadly mistake. The vibrant cartoon you see on television today is nothing more than the manic sketches of a father who lost his mind to unimaginable grief. Every time the animated pig snorts and laughs, it is a chilling echo of a man desperately trying to pretend his little girl is still alive, sitting right across from him at the dinner table. So the next time you hear that famous cheerful melody playing on the television, remember the dark truth. You are not watching a cute children's show. You are looking directly into the mind of a madman and the muddy, bloody grave of a little girl in red boots.